With over 25 years in custom wine cellar design, Ted Beltran has mastered the art of wooden wine racking. He combines deep knowledge of wood species, finishes, and craftsmanship to create stunning, functional, and custom storage solutions. In this interview, Ted shares expert insights on choosing the right materials and designs to enhance both the look and function of your wine cellar. Suppose a client saw this online, a prospective customer saw this photo and called you up and said, Ted, I really like this picture. I want something similar. What am I looking at here?
Whatever room you have in your home, I would say, as you can see, I can go floor to ceiling. This particular room was like 12 foot high. I gave them, an 8-foot ladder or 9-foot ladder or whatever that was to access those bottles. It makes it very cool to have it in your wine room. To be able to access, you can put bottles away that you don't need to touch forever. This customer like to have a lot of display. As you can see, I've highlighted some bottles, a double stack that are lit up, but then above that, I even have horizontal bottles that are laying on their sides. I would show them like that archway area. That's kind of the focal point they wanted in the room. They can set things down. They can have their own little touch on the wine cellar in those areas. And then this particular wine cellar did not have a cooling system. You see a refrigerator there. They decided to cut costs and just put in some stuff that they wanted to have cold, in there.
I'm looking at a lot of different formats, or I don't know what you call it, where here we've got cork-forward, display row, horizontal, X-bins. Talk me through some of those and what kind of options and combinations you can create for people.
The standard wine racks are cork-forward, and our cubbies that hold individual bottles are designed to hold your Chardonnay, your Pinot sized bottles that do not rip off the labels. They're 3 3/4 inches openings, so the bottles fit comfortably in there. A lot of customers I've spoke to in the past, they're upset because they buy a $200 bottle of wine, they slide it in and the label gets ripped off. Our cubbies have eased edges, so they're not sharp. They're just kind of a radius on them, and they slide in and they fit comfortably. We also have sizes for splits. We have sizes for champagne, and we also have sizes for magnums.
Question about the cork-forwards then. Is the advantage to these storage volume, that you can fit a lot in the space?
That's a way to maximize storage, is using the cork-forward. I'll definitely give you that option to have that, but I'll also want to break it up with some display type areas, which would then gives the seller some design features that you can play with. So those are the questions I'm asking. And is this a design thing you want to show off, or is it strictly storage? Some customers, all they want is storage. No one's going to see it. It's in the ground or whatever. So they just want to maximize bottles. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
What kind of wood this is, and what kind of wooden stain
that is Alder. It's our Knotty Alder, our Rustic stain color. I typically have about 12 options of color. Knotty Alder is our go-to wood that we use primarily only because it stains so nice. It's very affordable, but you could also jump into a Mahogany. The Knotty Alder is going to have some various knots, that are subtle, that you'll see in the wood. But then I'll show them other samples of Redwood or white oak, walnut, things like that.
Talk us through this one.
So this was a very cool job that we did, where I had a large room that we divided. We divided it with that wall that you see and the doors, and inside it was kind of an octagon coming around the room. So we offered side lights in the double door entry. We constructed the wall, did all the wall work on the inside. This is another job that they backed out of the cooling system too.
Okay.
Kind of crazy, but this particular job is custom, where they wanted a marble or granite countertop. You can see the contrast between that and the darker wood. It's very cool.
Tell me again what kind of wood this is.
This is our Alder wood. Also, the color of the stain you select will also kind of go with like more of a traditional look when it's darker, more rich looking, versus like we do like a gray, where we can make look more modern. Color also kind of flows with that design theme.
And,
So this is all one big room, and so we added the door and we put the walls, you can see, you know, all the way across to separate that. In the front, as you're looking in, that's kind of the area where they can sit and drink wine, and they had tables there and chairs.
Tell me about the wood and the finish here.
So this is also an alder. I want to say it's an espresso color, but it's just like I said, it stains so nicely, this wood, that whatever's stained with a lacquer finish just brings out the color really nice.
It's amazing though. I'm looking at, you know, this one, we talked about this one, we talked about in here. So these are all the same wood, but they look so unique because of that stain.
Same wood, but you see how it just changes up the whole look. This particular one is, I think, is a more modern look with that color.
Tell me about this one, because this is another completely different look.
This one is Redwood, where it's just a premium Redwood. There's no stain. It just has a lacquer finish on it.
Yeah, okay. Just to kind of protect it and show the natural color, but to not make it darker or brighter.
Yeah, you have the option of doing raw without the stain or lacquer, but the lacquer really does pull the color out of it.
Are there advantages, or you know, in something like this, if someone wants an unstained, is that because they just like the look of the wood, or are there other advantages to not having a stain?
No, it's a Redwood is, you know, was always the wood of choice forever for wine cellars, just because the wood is so good against moisture. So we always offer that. This is premium Redwood, and there's all heart Redwood. I like this premium Redwood because it gives you kind of a marbling look of the actual color, where it shows kind of a white and red. This job is customer is a Frenchman and had a ton of French wine, and he wanted to. I think he had almost 2,000 bottles, so we had to make sure it got in there.